so the first one is Anyma walking, and let's just have a look at this. So a lot of what the sound does has to do with automating certain parameters. Here you can see there's lots of stuff that I've automated. So we're going to remake it together, but I'm going to just duplicate this bass channel here. I'm going to turn off the effects chain, and I'm going to reload wavetables so that we're starting up together. And I'm going to be toggling back and forth between these two basses to double check the parameters. There's just too many parameters and things for me to remember. So I'm going to just be tabbing between these two while we remake it. So when you think about sounds like this, a lot of it has to do with automation and then a lot of distortion and filtering to get the sound, because at its core, it's really just a saw wave and a sine wave, which on their own with that and a filter sound pretty boring. But when you start driving loads of distortion into it, that's where you start getting this like really dirty, powerful sound. And then after that, it's about adding effects and giving it a space to make it seem bigger than it actually is. Okay, so first oscillator is a sine wave, and our second oscillator, we're going to turn that on and make that a saw wave. Let's just double check that. Saw wave, yeah. And they're at the same octave, so just like that. Oh, and you might also want to just copy down this MIDI over here. So yeah, with nothing on it, these two waveforms together, they just sound like this. And then what we want to do is we want to enable this filter, so we want to bring down this frequency here, and that frequency was at 171 Hertz. So just make that 171. Now you can hear it's like kind of dark. And we want to bring the resonance up to 18%. And here we want to switch this to our 24 dB filter. So just click on that button there. And then we want to enable PRD, which is like a Moog filter as far as I know. Yeah, so you can see it's a different circuit. If you hover over here, you can read exactly what it does. That PRD is a ladder circuit, and as far as I know, the ladder filter comes from a Moog. But the reason why I've enabled this is so that we can start playing with this drive, and that's where most of the grit of the sound comes from. If we have a listen to the original here, you can see I've got a saturate on here, but actually most of the drive is coming from the filter. Without the drive, it's a completely different sound. So that drive is hugely important for sounds like this. So let's just bring up this drive all the way up to 24, and then we want to bring down the output volume here to -10. Okay, I think that's it for the filter. There's going to be a bunch of filter automation that we're going to do, but I'll leave that to the end. For now, let's just keep going here. So next up, we've got our amp envelope, and if we just go to amp here, and we want to copy down these parameters here. We've got an attack of 14 milliseconds, decay of 1.25. So here, attack 14, yeah, decay 1. I think it's 1250. There we go. And sustain -12. And I think the release, I didn't touch the release. And then we go into envelope 2, and envelope 2 is going to be, if we go into the matrix here, we can see envelope 2 is modulating the filter frequency. So what we need to do here is we need to go to the matrix here, and we just need to click on frequency. And then we can start modulating the frequency here with envelope 2, and the amount of modulation is exactly 42. So yeah, I got lucky there. So now we can really hear those harmonics come through from the drive. It's getting nice and gritty. And the shape of the envelope is super important here. Let's just go back to the beginning of the clip because it's being automated. But the decay starts at 1, 584, and 54. So 584, sustain of 54, and then our release is 546. And, oh wait, envelope 2. Oh, sorry, it's because of the automation that it looks different now. So we're basically just focusing on the beginning here. Okay, so what else have we got? We've got envelope 3, which is modulating the pitch. So if we just go down here into envelope 3, go to the matrix here, we can go and modulate pitch, and the pitch amount, I think it was, yeah, 21.8. So the point of this is to basically create a little bit of an attack for the sound. We want a very fast decay in pitch, kind of like how a kick drum gets its punch. So we can just do that, and then the shape of that envelope. We've got 1. So here's 35 milliseconds. We got 0 sustain. And the release doesn't matter. So yeah, to basically hear that, we could exaggerate what it's doing. If I turn it off, just pay attention to the start of the sound. It starts getting this like punch as I turn it up. Gives it this really nice strong attack. So yeah, I'll just leave it around there. It's not super important if it's 21 or 22. It's more important about the shape of the envelope. And if it's too long, the decay, you start getting this like 808 kick drum kind of sound. Okay, and we need to make sure that it's in mono because we don't want any notes overlapping and it'll just sound horrible. So just set it to mono. Yeah, and then the most important part here, or one of the most important parts, is all of the automation. So here you can see I'm automating a bunch of parameters. The first one is the filter frequency. So I'm just going to re-enable these automations as I explain them. But basically, first automation is going to be controlling this frequency amount. So it's going to be opening up just on these 2 hits. And then the last one is a bit louder than this section. So we have this feeling of it growing through there. So I'm going to just re-enable that automation. But if you want to do that automation yourself, all you do is just click on that button, make sure that you're in automation mode, and then you can create points and click and drag them. So we start at 171 and then go up to 283 here. And if you want to know how to basically make these perfect flat lines, you can just highlight a section and these little boxes pop up and you can drag them up. So then it goes up to 283 and then we're modulating it up again, automating it up to 496. So if you compare this hit to this one, that one's even louder, and this one, I mean even brighter, that one's even brighter, and then this one is brighter than that one. The note lengths are also important. If I didn't mention that at the start, you want to have like a long and a short note, long and a short note. And the size of this grid is 16ths. So this one's 4/16 and this one's 2/16. Okay, then the next thing that we are automating is the global modulation amount. So that's this amount here. And what that's going to be doing is basically taking these parameters like filter frequency and pitch. And it's going to be, if at 100% this is 22.5. If I bring that down to like 50%, then it'll be half of that amount. So I'm just going to re-enable that. And here you can see how basically we start with this modulation amount at 43%. So it's about half of this amount here. So here it sounds a bit darker. And then as I increase the amount, you'll hear the sound get brighter because this filter frequency is opening up and the sound also gets punchier. So this note is not as powerful as that one. And here we're just basically copying these all the way across. There's no change over time. So the first note is at 43%, the second note at 73%, and then it just continues to alternate between them. Okay, and then the third thing that we're automating is filter resonance. So in the original, I noticed that the sound had like this resonant, almost like drop on certain notes, and on others it wasn't as obvious. So I try to kind of emulate that by increasing and decreasing the resonance. So I'm just going to re-enable that automation here. And when you have a resonant peak and you drive it through a filter like this really hard, it kind of loses that resonant peak. It like clips it off and then creates harmonics. So if you turn up the resonance while you have drive and you're like getting frustrated because you can't hear resonance, the reason is because those resonant peaks are being clipped by the filter, but you can still kind of hear them. It at least changes like the quality of the sound. So here the resonance is at 39%, and then it goes at 76%, and then down to 18%, 76, 18, 76, and then it sounds like this. And you'll hear without the drive, you'll really hear that resonance. Starts becoming like an acid kind of bass. Okay, then the next thing is the wavetable envelope to decay. So here this decay amount. So the sound the first note is kind of like long and the second one is a bit shorter. And we control that by automating this decay. So it's at 584, and then when this note hits, it's around 180 milliseconds. And then we're also playing with the release here. I'm going to re-enable automation. And the release is at 546 and then 145, just so that, you know, this note ends a lot more abruptly than this one. Kind of really want to have this like, and then this like push and pull kind of feeling. And then we've got the sustain here, and the sustain is kind of working together with the decay to make the sound a lot shorter and snappier on the second note. So the decay is at 54% here, and then down to 22%. Now you can just watch the shape of this and see what's happening with the sound. Okay, so that's it pretty much for everything in this synth, and you can see you get pretty far without any external effects. But now we want to kind of really just spice up the sound, EQ it a bit, and then put it into space with delay and some reverb, and then sidechain it to the kick drum. So I'm going to turn this on and then just go through the effects one by one. Okay, so first up is the saturator, and what I did with the saturator is just increase the drive by 12 dB and decrease the output by -4. And we are using a wave shaper here. By default it's on analog clip, and that I just didn't like the sound of that one. Wave shaper sounds better to me. In this case, you just have to kind of get lucky with this, so just try them all out and see which one sounds the nicest. That's how I do it, at least. And then I decreased the bass here, and the space amount just basically tells the saturator how much of the lower frequencies do you want to push through the saturator. So if you increase this bass, you'll get this like really strong distortion, because it's like hammering those lower frequencies. If you decrease it, it becomes almost like unnoticeable. So I just had it, I think, at like -2, yeah, -2.2. And then I used EQ8 to just bring up the sub a bit, and then bring up this frequency here to 25 Hertz. And then delay. So the delay is really important in the original. Like, I really had to pay attention to hearing at like the timing of the delay. So here you can see I've unlinked them, and this one's set to 4 and this one's set to 3. So they're kind of like landing at different times, but it creates like this rhythmic kind of like bounce to the bass. And then if you drag this filter down to 432 and the width to 1.73, so we're only really getting the delays in the mid-range. We don't want like a bunch of high-end or sub in the delay. And then the mix is at 25%. And then this utility was kind of to just bring down the width of that delay. And that's just because in the original, the delay was kind of a bit more pulled in. It wasn't super wide like this. It wasn't like 100% width. It was, yeah, it just felt a bit more centered. And then I brought down the gain a little bit too. I just felt like the signal was coming through a bit hot. And then a little bit more saturation. I just used this preset warm-up highs. That just adds like a little bit of bite to the sound. And then some reverb, and that just makes the sound feel bigger, puts it in this like huge space. So how the reverb is set up is this input filter is brought down to 272 Hertz, width of 2.98. I don't think I touched the pre-delay. The size is still at 100. Decay time at 2.41, and then 23% mixed in here on the dry wet. And then this glue compressor is there to kind of just bring out the transient a little bit more of the sound. So you can hear it clamping down on the sound, but the initial transient comes through, so it gives like the illusion that the sound is hitting harder. And how you achieve that is by having a long attack. So if I had to exaggerate this by bringing the threshold down, you can hear that an initial sound comes through, but the rest, the tail, doesn't. So it basically makes the transient feel a bit stronger. You can make that even longer, the attack, for more effect. And then bring the threshold up till it's doing about -5. So without the compressor, width, yeah, you're getting a lot more punch in the sound. And the release is here at 0.6. Soft clippings turn on, and you'll see that the sound actually does clip a bit. So it's adding a little bit more drive to it, a bit more grit. And then the makeup gain's at 2.2. And then this is just to sidechain it to the kick. And yeah, I just pulled the kick from the original track. I'm not going to show you how to do that. That's not really part of this tutorial. But yeah, all together with the kick and the clap, we have this. Alright, that's it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it and you learnt a lot, and thanks for watching. If you want to take a deeper dive into more sound design stuff or any other courses, we have a bunch linked below. So yeah, go and check them out. Alright, have a good day and I'll see you at the next one.